Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Happy Workaholic Podcast. I'm your host, Kellyanne Gorman. I'm a business, LinkedIn, and podcast coach, as well as a luxury brand consultant, and I help business owners take their brands to the next level by implementing my personal techniques when it comes to growing their service, sales, and social media. Over the past 20 years, I've helped grow multiple brands in the beauty, hospitality, health, and luxury travel markets. I've exceeded all of their expectations, and I'm here to share my tips and tricks on how I did it. Inspiration, motivation, and determination are what got me to where I am today. And trust me, living with an autoimmune disease is never an easy task. So you can definitely expect some pretty crazy stories shared here as well. Don't forget, the after show happens after each episode in the Happy Workaholic Podcast Facebook group, and that's where I'll be every week to answer all of your questions. Now, if you want to hear any of my exclusive news first, just visit thehappyworkaholic.com, scroll down to the bottom of the page, and sign up for my weekly VIP newsletter. Now, let's get started with today's show. Hey guys, happy Friday. Welcome back to a brand new episode. Today I want to talk to you guys about setting yourself up for success and how to get so organized and ready for a brand new year. 2019 is just around the corner, and I wrote a blog post a couple years ago about how to get organized in your personal and professional life. So I feel like it was time that I repurposed some of this content to share it with you. So in the show notes, you can click the link for that blog post so that you can see a lot of other tips and tricks and things that I do in my personal and professional life to keep me on track, to keep me organized, to keep me, in my flow and all that fun stuff. So before I dive into today's episode, I want to share with you right now where I'm recording. So I am sitting in my friend's car, so you can probably hear the cars driving by. We're parked. Well, the car is parked. She's inside her children's daycare. Preschool rather, for some holiday concert, and I am literally so exhausted. I just didn't have the energy to sit at Starbucks. I'm just gonna sit in your car and record my podcast and be comfortable. So that's what I'm doing. And the point of me sharing this is that if you are looking to launch your own podcast, just start. I've been doing these pop-up sales every 24 hours for a couple weeks now until the end of the year. I have them. And one of the ones that I'm selling the most of is how to learn how to podcast from your phone. And if you're someone that's been wanting to have a podcast and you're just not ready to dive in just now, but you're sitting on content, you have a lot of ideas running around in your head, and you just want to get that information out and recorded, you can 150% do it from your phone. I've actually recorded 100 episodes of the show from my phone. It wasn't until I got on iHeartRadio that I was able to get my microphone, because that was just a promise I made to myself when iHeartRadio accepts my show. I'm going to get top of the line Blue Yeti Blue Chrome mic and move on and live my best life. But sometimes I'm running around and I just have an idea pop in my head, or it's too loud at my house, or I just am on the beach, or whatever the case may be. I'm able to basically run my business from my phone and record shows from my phone and do everything for my business from my iPhone, with the exception of producing an episode. That's the only thing I cannot do from my phone. So if you're looking to just start your podcast, just start today. And today there's a $59 offer. It's $50 offer for a coaching call. It's about 60 minutes so that I can show you how to start recording on your phone and how to turn your episodes into an MP3 file and move them to your computer, which will then be so much easier. So then when the time comes and you actually are ready to launch your show, you're sitting on a lot of content and your files are already put together, converted, and you're just ready to launch and get your show together. So if you're interested in learning how to podcast from your phone, just to start, get that content going, it's a $50 deal. You can always find me on social media at You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at The Happy Workaholic. And then if you want to send me an email, it's hello@thehappyworkaholic.com, and we can discuss your needs. But it's $50. It's a 1-hour call. Sometimes it's 90 minutes because, I like to talk. And I really want to make sure that you get all the information I'm giving you to correctly and you fully understand. And then it's just so simple. You just start recording. So you have lots of content for your future show. So I'd love to help you out. So I just wanted to preface that. And share that information, and that deal is until the end of the year, and you really can't beat that price point. Let me just say that. And if you're interested in more podcast coaching and production, you can always visit yourpodcastproduction.com, and that's where all my programs sit, and they're actually all 30% off until the end of the year. So if you are looking to launch and you're ready to do it now and save 30%, then by all means you can do that as well. So now I want to get into today's show. So I have a list of topics here right in front of me that I'm going to read to you. So pause me for a minute. After you grab pause me so that you can grab a pen and your journal, your notebook, and start writing these things down. And if you don't want to do that right now, you're driving, you can always visit the blog link that I'm going to have in the show notes to get the entire list of everything I'm going over. Right now, I'm just going to give you a few. So first of all, if you need to organize your office, that was like the longest deep breath. Sorry. I feel like I was just talking a mile a minute. If you're ready to organize your office, some of the things, and by the way, these things, I've done them all. These are my personal tips and tricks that I do every year, every quarter, every 6 months, depending on what needs to be updated or upgraded, right? So in my office, at the end of the year or whenever I need to do this, I shred documents because nobody needs to have excess things we don't need, right? Let's just make our lives more streamlined and simple. So get rid of documents that you don't need. Go ahead and shred them. A vision board, a happiness board, anything that you can manifest, you can look at, like anything that just fills you up with joy in your heart, like keeps you motivated. Some goals if you want to take a trip to, say, Greece, or you have something on your work agenda you want to, pitch a big brand. I used to have a vision board, like in a happiness board, and then a work board. So I'd have different goals for work, and then I would have my vision board and happiness board separate. So I like to do those every month and to have them updated. You can do them quarterly, however you feel that you need to do, but having those boards organized really makes a difference. And then also, as far as electronics go, make sure that whatever you're using is updated. You always have batteries, because the worst thing is when you go to use some of your equipment and you're out of batteries or the USB broke. So I always like to have backups. I have them in my purse. I have them in my office area. I've just always been somebody that has had to have them on the go. Back when I was a personal assistant and flying everywhere and running around like a lunatic, God forbid I forgot something, I would be in big trouble. So I just always make sure that I have backups of those things. So that is something for your office area. And again, there are so many more tips on the blog post that will be in the show notes. So if I'm going too fast, if you want to see other ideas, they're all going to be written there for you. As far as making more space in your personal life, what I like to do is go through all of my clothes and donate what I do not need, what's not serving me, what doesn't fit me, what doesn't look good anymore, just stuff I'm not wearing. Get rid of it and give it to somebody that truly needs it and that would appreciate it. And that's something I try to do all the time. Right now I have a lot of boxes waiting for me in Vegas, so I'm definitely going to be doing that as soon as I move again. More news on that shortly. And then as far as my personal space and how I wake up in the morning, I just actually posted something that I'm doing now that's new for me. And lately, this week in particular, I've been sleeping a lot more. My doctors have advised me that because I'm detoxing from a lot of medications, that the best thing for me to do is sleep. So I've been going to bed at like 4:30 or 5 o'clock, which is so crazy. I get up around 9 or 10 and I'm kind of wired, but then I convince myself it's time to go back to bed. And I'm just resting and watching like all the Hallmark movies and just relaxing and giving my mind a break, because I know I'm like about to crash if I don't do that. So I'm just trying to take time for myself. This is why self-care is so important. So some of my tips regarding, your personal space and getting organized and working is just breathing and meditating and journaling and taking a bubble bath. And I do all those things. But as I mentioned a second ago, I have been doing something new when I wake up now. So I've been waking up between 5 and 6 a.m. this week because I've been going to bed so early. And I wake up, I put my diffuser on, my oil diffuser, I light my candle, which is like a grapefruit vanilla smell. I have my celery juice, I have my water, my iced coffee, of all the liquids. And I just start writing all my content in Word docs. I do not go online. I do my morning meditation. I journal, all that's done. But then when it's time to work, I need to set the mood. And for some reason lately, if I go online, I just lose my mind. I can't focus and redirect my brain to create content. And there's so much content I need to do just until the end of the year. And that doesn't even count what I'm planning for the new year, changing my branding and coming up with new content. And this is just for the end of the year. So in order for me to be my best, I know I cannot go online. There's no social media allowed. There is just myself and my Word docs and typing out everything that's going on in my mind. Sometimes I write stuff down first in my journal, then I put it to, my notebook rather, because my journal is for my personal thoughts. And my notebook is something I keep with me all the time to keep track of my work stuff, and then obviously my planner. So those three I actually always have on me, but when I'm listening to a podcast that I've produced, I write all my show notes in my notebook, and then I go into a Word doc and translate it into the show notes as a blog post. So that's just how I've been doing it. And I have a lot of shows I need to produce. This week alone, 6 shows are going up. And so that's a lot. Usually it's 2. But this week, I just wanted to push out more shows because I have guests now. So that's a lot of content I have to write and create and edit and produce. So I want to make sure that I'm taking advantage of my time and really utilizing blocks of time. I'm trying to do that, especially by not having my browser up or my phone on. So I'm trying really hard to stay focused like that. So those are some personal tips. As far as getting organized online, something that you want to do for the new year is unsubscribe to any emails that you're getting flooded into your inbox of things that just don't serve you anymore, things that you could care less about. Why are you waiting? Why do you have all these things going into your inbox if you don't even care about it? So just hit unsubscribe and move on with your life. And then as far as social media accounts and different online accounts, it's so great to have these done the first of the year or even the day before or the first week of January, is to make sure that all of your bios on your social media platforms are on brand, they're cohesive, you have proper images, proper web links, all that good stuff. Just do a little refresh if you need to. If you maybe just went through a whole rebrand, then you're not going to have to do that. But that's just something I wanted to share because I do actually do that myself. So I wanted to share that with you guys. And then also, if you have apps that say that automatically thank your followers. I use an app called IFTTT, which I talk about all the time, if this then that. And that's a program I use to automate all of my social media throughout the day for me. And I have one set up that it thanks my followers. So that's something that is really nice so that you can keep the conversation going without you living on your phone 24/7. Is use simple tools like that to help automate your posts to, streamline your life online. It's so amazing, that app. And then next, I want to talk to you guys about how to organize your computer, your desktop. So I actually do this every first of the month throughout the year. I have an Excel sheet that I track all my social media stats so I can track my growth every month. And then I also take all my files from each month and put them on a cloud, as well as my external hard drive. So God forbid something happens, I'm completely backed up. And that did just happen to me a couple weeks ago. If you've been following me on social media, I was without my computer for almost 2 weeks because my hard drive crashed. And it took 4 companies to figure that out. So, story of my life. I was like, wow, this is an unexpected few days off, but thank God I can do everything from my phone minus the production of podcasts. So I had a couple shows behind, my clients' shows behind, which drove me freaking nuts, but I was able to come back strong and have everything all set and ready to go. And once my computer was back up and running, so that was great. But if that is to happen, you want to make sure that you have everything backed up, you're organized. Excuse me, I have the hiccups. And I don't like a lot of clutter on my desktop. I can't handle it. I'm like so OCD. It's not acceptable in my world. So I have to have little organized folders. And don't get me wrong, like each folder probably has like 25, 30 folders in it. But at least I'm just looking at one. So for example, I have my client folder, and inside I have lots of client folders inside there. And then what I do is throughout the month, I always have a folder called, for example, right now, December Dropbox. So everything I'm working on and I've completed just goes right into the December Dropbox. So on the first of every month, I then put that folder or that file where it needs to go. So whether it goes to my clients folder or it's something of mine, it's a podcast episode, it's graphics, wherever it needs to go, I put it there, and then I upload it to the cloud and I upload it to my external hard drive. That way I have it backed up in 2 spots, and I do this on the first of every single month is I'm updating it. So if you do that every first of the month and track your stats every first of the month, it makes your year at like end of year so much easier. So that I wanted to share with you. And then speaking of being on your phone all the time, if you have a million apps on your phone and notes you take all the time, I know a lot of us that work online, we take a million notes in our note section on our phone, voice memos at well, just go through them. Like seriously, take an hour, grab a coffee, grab a glass of wine, take an hour or so and just go through your phone and delete whatever you did not need. Make sure your phones are backed up. Make sure that you have everything you need in your phone at all times. If you're on an iPhone, you have things constantly getting backed up when it's plugged in overnight. You're on Wi-Fi. Like little things like that can really mess with your business if you're not keeping track or just making sure that these things are done. So that's something else I like to do a lot. Photos, for example, when I'm on Instagram stories, it saves every single thing I do. Snapchat as well. So when I go to my camera roll, every week I have like 4,000 photos if I'm doing a lot of stories. So I go back in there and favorite the ones that I'm going to repurpose and then just delete everything else I no longer need because they're just taking up room. And when I actually need to find something, I have to go through thousands and thousands of images and it's just too much. So that's something else I like to do. What else do I like to do? My purse and my wallet, I actually just helped my friend do this because her purse and wallet do not look like mine. I have clear Ziploc bags in my purse because I like to see everything in there, and my purse is huge. So that's my way of organizing. And as far as my wallet, if there's never any receipts in there, unless I know I'm going somewhere and I need to do an exchange or return or something, because my system at home is white envelopes with a black Sharpie labeled for my accounting at the end of the year or quarterly, however I decide to do it, and all the receipts go in the designated envelope. So as soon as I buy something, I mean, I've gone a couple weeks where I have like a million receipts in my wallet. Then it's time to reorganize and put them where they need to go in my office at home so I don't lose them. So for example, a couple months ago, I bought like a lot of electronics. So I need to make sure I have those receipts because what if something happened? Well, it did. My brand new microphone, the USB broke. So thank God I had the receipt. I was able to swap that out like right away. So you want to make sure that any receipts you have in your wallet, you take out and you organize them in your home office where however your system is. Mine is like super old school, white envelopes, black Sharpie, put the subject on it, throw them in a file. And then if you have a huge wad of receipts, then you're going to want to track the total on the envelope every month just to make your life easy. So when it's time to write everything off at the end of the year, you won't be taking hours and hours and hours trying to figure out your expenses and all that fun stuff, because that is your accountant's job, and you'll get your tax money back quicker if you're more organized. And I've been doing this system for years. It's just a lot easier. As far as, personally being healthy in the new year, I know so many people are onto like the next diet. They really want to start meal prepping, just getting healthier. January 1st is always a big day for that. So what you want to make sure you're doing is using fresh ingredients and making sure that everything in your kitchen is organized as well. This is really important, especially when you want to meal prep, when you want to start fresh in the new year and just like really get back to your healthy self. Look through your pantry, throw away everything you don't need. Spices you're never going to use. That stuff sits and it's nasty and you just don't want to use it, and it's better to get fresh stuff anyway. So that's my advice to you. Clean out the cupboards, clean out things that, like Tupperware lids, things that don't match. Get rid of it. Those things are so cheap to buy. You don't need to save it. Old spices, old containers, like cans of beans. Like, you just don't need that stuff. If you haven't used it for a while. If you have a backup stash, then obviously leave it. If that's like something you like to personally keep in your pantry, then go ahead and leave it. But if you have stale chips, if you have, like jelly and peanut butter that have been there forever, like just throw that stuff away and get new, because I swear to God, it's like a mindset thing. If you go to the store and buy all new, like you're just ready and on your A game and ready to prepare new healthy meals. Like, I feel like if you're taking old products into the new year, it's just like, I don't know, it's just gross to me. So that's just something, I think it's from my yacht days. I would always have to have everything fresh. So that's like my mindset now. I still do that. So it's a lot easier to meal prep and plan your menus and all that stuff when you're looking at what you have. You have to have an organized fridge and freezer. You just have to. Pantry as well. And it's so much easier when it comes time to prepare these delicious meals for yourself or your family when you can see everything you have. I'm a big person of like using leftovers to create like the most delicious stir fry, or, old baking ingredients to create like a vegan dish, or, excuse me, I have the hiccups. Ice cream. I make a lot of vegan ice creams. So if you have bananas that are going to go bad, that's the key ingredient for vegan ice cream. So it's a perfect time for you to start freezing those ice creams and getting rid of produce that is going to go bad. You might as well use it, right? So those are just some things I have for you. And then if you are looking for, like I said earlier, my envelope situation as far as taxes, if you don't want to put it in an ugly file cabinet, I would suggest going to Home Goods and buying one of those beautiful boxes. They have them at Michael's as well. The cute decorative boxes that say Paris and London, or some beautiful country theme, or like the globe is printed on it. And it's a nice decorative box in your office. It's great to film and use as a backdrop, like a really decorative piece. And guess what's inside? All your bills. Nobody needs to know that. So it's just like a really nice piece to look at. So rather than be stressed out about what's inside, just make it pretty on the outside. And then that will make you just feel more organized and have like a nice piece of art in your office area. I've told a lot of my friends that, and they do it. They're like, you're right, it really does look good. It makes me like feel better. So those are just some of my tips and tricks. I know I'm talking a little bit fast. Sorry. I just had like a huge coffee. But I'm not sure if you've already started this, but if you're ready to get a brand new planner and set up your new calendar, come up with a system before you start writing in it. I use a highlighting system because I like to open my planner up at a glance and see what's going on in my month. So I have certain highlighters, which I've talked about on other episodes, to designate certain things. So for example, for all my doctor's appointments, I use blue. For all my conference calls, I use orange. For my bills due, it's green. For my personal life, it's pink. So I've just like set up a system. So when I flip the page, it's January, February, March. I look and there's highlights. I see, okay, this month I have a ton of doctor's appointments. So I'm not going to be able to create a lot because I'm probably going to be stressed out or exhausted from them. So that's a way that I can prepare myself and my month and my schedule at a glance, like looking at your planner at a glance. It's just something that's really helped me. And then I always have my notebook on the side to do my notes. So that's just something else I wanted to share with you. But as far as your taxes, getting back to your taxes, that envelope system I've been using for years, and it's so simple. Go to the dollar store and buy a package of envelopes, buy a Sharpie, and that's all you need. It's a $2 system, and you're going to be so organized. And if you're a numbers person, you like to put it on a spreadsheet, go ahead and pop those numbers in Excel. I personally don't like to do that. I like to pay somebody to do that for me, with the exception of my social media stats. But when it comes to numbers for the year, I just can't be bothered, because I would prefer to create. So somebody does that for me, thank God. But yeah, so I just wanted to wrap up this year. I have a couple more shows for you, but I wanted to share all of these organizing tips that so many of my online friends and friends in real life ask me about all the time, because I am so organized. So I always love to share my tips and tricks with you. So if you want to grab a pen and your journal, head to thehappyworkaholic.com and click the link in that's going to be in the show notes, and that will bring you to the full blog post where I get down to so many more. It's a very long blog post, so I wanted to share a bunch of it with you here, but I would say, print that bad boy out too if you want, and then just start highlighting your to-dos and add whatever else you need to that as well. And it will really help you be organized and start your year off fresh. And as always, if you have any other questions, you can always reach out to me on Facebook and Instagram at The Happy Workaholic. And if you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear them as well. And if you haven't already left me a review on iTunes, I would truly appreciate it. As we're closing up 2018, the more reviews the better, and you'll find out why in January. And then also, if you're listening on iHeartRadio, thank you so much. Feel free to say hello on the live chat. It would mean so much to talk to my listeners. I love, love, love that plugin. It's so amazing. And yeah, I think that's all I have for you guys today. So I hope that you had a great week. Oh, I almost forgot one more thing. When you're going through your clothing and electronics and things that just don't serve you, if you don't want to give them to Goodwill or donate them, set up an eBay store. I did this a couple years ago, and I made hundreds of dollars from selling stuff that was just sitting in my house. So that's another way to make your money back as well. So I didn't want to forget to tell you that. But I hope that you guys have had a great week. You're having a great day. And I'll be back next week with 2 or 3 more shows. And then we're starting a brand new year in 2019. I'm so excited. I have so much content for you guys. So many guests lined up for the I Chose This Life series. And yeah, that's it. That's all I have for you today. I can't wait to hear from you soon. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you so much for listening to today's show. If you liked this episode, please let me know by writing me a review on iTunes for the Happy Workaholic podcast. I would truly appreciate it. As I always say, sharing is caring. Don't forget, the after show happens after each episode in the Happy Workaholic podcast Facebook group. And that is where I am every week to answer all of your questions. Now, just so you know, I have been spending so much time over on my Instagram, and I would love to connect with you over there. You can find me at The Happy Workaholic, and don't forget to tag me when listening to your favorite episode so I can showcase you on my Instagram stories. For any other information regarding the Happy Workaholic Network, leverage your LinkedIn and your podcast production, just visit thehappyworkaholic.com. I hope that you are having a wonderful week, and I will talk to you again soon.